I'm down with, what's your first name?
My name is Jim Henning.
Right, Jim, I'm down with Jim Henning, and he's a volunteer for the...
I'm volunteer for the Lagan Valley Regional Park.
Right.
But also I'm a member of the Inland Waterways Association
Right.
of Ireland and chair the Lagan branch of the Inland Waterways Association.
So Jim's a volunteer down here, and he's showing me about here, and he tells me that the industry, lighter, did plough these waters, and it set sail on these waters, well, in
June 1920. It was built in Portadown Foundry and launched in June 1920.
Right.
It's the second later named industry. The first was a wooden vessel,
Right.
which was built, we understand, in the early 1800s.
Right.
And was horse-drawn. This particular later was powered by an engine called a Bollinger engine,
Right.
an old crude oil engine.
Right.
And
So where did where did you find it? Where was it restored from?
we in Inland Waterways knew of the existence of this vessel. It was lying in a place called Carnadoe, close to Jamestown.
Now, where would that be?
Jamestown's on the Shannon.
Right.
And Castlereagh Borough Council were keen to find a vessel,
Yes.
an original Lagan.
Yes. Yes.
And they worked and got European funding
To transport it up.
to transport it, but not only to find it and restore it,
Yes.
and transport it, and it's now restored and floating
Right.
on the Lagan here at Loch 3.
And there she is, actually. Whenever she first arrived, she was in sort of...
That's where she was lying down the
Oh,
Shannon.
that's still down the Shannon.
That's
But
when she was down the Shannon.
She's looking rough, boy.
She was lying in an old drain down there,
My
and
goodness.
half filled with water.
My goodness.
And from the water line down, she's been totally replated.
Yes.
Most of the ribs were okay, and one or two had been restored. But it's original from the water line up.
Yes. Yeah, my
And
goodness.
built of the same structure as the Titanic. It's built of riveted iron.
Built the same stuff as this here.
Yeah, it's riveted iron.
Right. My
It's
goodness.
12 years younger than the Titanic, but it's still around.
Boys, oh. And the hope and the desire, as you've been telling me, is to eventually have a rich donor to provide £100 million or more to restore these waterways. Would not be?
Restore the Lagan navigation.
Yes. It would take at least that amount.
Well, the Lagan navigation is 27 miles long from Belfast through to
Yes.
Loughney. You know, as you move along, you're in the forward living space.
The living space. The living space.
This area is about 10 foot long by about 8 foot wide, and the lighter man and his wife and family would have lived in this space.
My goodness.
And they would have accessed it up and down through a hatch.
Yes. And slept and everything in here.
Eat, slept, bathed, washed.
There they are.
Um,
Oh my goodness. There they
and
are.
no doubt we're as happy as Larry.
But it was waterproof.
Absolutely.
And
Cozy.
some of the Dunderns Inn that people did live in were that had paid a king's ransom to get into this. My goodness. But it is small, boy.
This is
This
where
is
the
the
cargo.
hold.
This is where the cargo
Right.
would have been stored.
So what kind of cargo are we talking about?
Well, you're talking about anything to do with the linen industry,
Right.
but mainly it transported coal
Yes.
from Belfast through to
Yes.
the various factories
Yes.
and that were along the Lagan navigation. It would have transported bricks and clay from, and believe it or not, at times sand, soil, even manure.
Right. What about What about armaments during the Second World
During
War?
the Second World War, this vessel was commissioned by the MOD, and it worked where there were munitions, I think, being manufactured, stored around the Beaver area.
Yes.
This vessel was involved in transporting that.
There was an army camp up there.
There was.
Aye, right. That's
And inside the hold, she could carry even in excess of 80 tons.
80 tons.
Her average cargo would have been 80 tons.
Uh-huh.
The vessel itself would have weighed between 40 and 50 tons.
Right.
So you can imagine then a total weight of around 130 tons.
And what kind of speed would she have? About 3 or 4 knots or something?
Well, she may not even have done that. She'd have been driven by a Bollinger engine,
Right.
which is a Swedish engine designed in the late 1800s.
Yes.
And all these lighters were driven by that particular engine in those days.
Right. Right. Here, that's